Ramel, tell me about the food. Let's start with the pizza because the New York slice. Explain what a slice is.
It's a gastronomic capital of the world. So we have different dishes, as I've mentioned. We have Indian cuisine, Italian, of course, Filipino, Chinese. Um, what else? We have the best steaks, right? So food is overflowing in New York. We were in a conversation a month ago, and we were talking about the food that we have in New York. There's just too much food. Um, there's just too
There's too
much.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I,
exactly.
I I would be attending a meeting and well, the company where I'm working at, and we have just too many food, and I don't know why we have too many food in New York. And if you go to a pantry, because every floor in the building where I work at, we have one or two pantries. There's just too many food being served in there. I don't know. And even in the house, we keep buying food and we keep bringing food, but there's just too much.
You will
So I
never
think
go
if you're
hungry.
single, you can save a lot of money. If you're in a work, even in the facilities where I was working before, 5 years, 10 years ago, there's just too much food. People keep bringing food. Your supervisor would be bringing food. There's just too many food. So you never get hungry in New York. But if the cost, the real cost, if you would go um, to a grocery, it's also cheaper compared to other states. I was told, or if, to any other countries. Um, and I keep comparing that because we have Costco, right? And they keep comparing that to an SNR in the Philippines. It's also almost like a Costco kind of grocery or a store. And the prices here are just rocketing. It's too much. Like a $400 cost of grocery for a weekend, that could be just $100 in Costco. So if you have a family, but what I can give as a tip, if you live in a family or in a group, you need to buy in Costco as a group. But if you're single, you don't really need to do groceries because there's too many food somewhere else, in the workplace, anywhere else. And just for fun, if you go to if you go to Bloomingdale's, which is very near my area as well, if you go to
Big
Bloomingdale's on a
department
special
store for
occasion, yeah,
shopping.
like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, whatever day it is, there would be food. There would be giving food. So there's just too many food in New York. I don't think you get hungry. And if you're living in a family, it would be cheaper because you'll be buying for the whole family. You'll be cooking for the whole family. I think that's one of the advantages in living in New York. The food is cheaper compared to the housing. I don't have the value, but Kay, I think Kay, you have that. Kay is very
Um,
thorough.
I know. Now, when I was in New York, I could easily right now with the I would say with the inflation rate right now, with our cost of food right now, I'm always in New York City anyway. I can sit down in an average restaurant and pay easily like $25 like that in a restaurant. When you have family and kids right now, our budget. We are near New York. We're not in New York City, but I work in New York City, going back and
Okay.
forth here. So my average with a family, we cook, we buy food in BJ's, which is also a wholesaler, like you said, it's a Costco kind of thing. We're spending our budget here is around 150 just for food alone, for food
Mm,
grocery, from grocery. When you add there like per disposables like paper towel, toiletries, so you're looking around $200 budget in here per week. This is per week that you can live off with a family comfortably without buying food outside. Now, if you buy food outside with a family right now, that can easily be
yeah,
costing you for a family of four, be like around $100 easily because New
right.
York wants you, they want New York people to tip. So that's one thing you forget about that. You're paying for
Tipping.
taxes
Yeah,
and you're paying for tip, and tip here is average around 15% to 20%.
yeah.
Other places they will say, do you really have to give for tip? um well,
Yeah,
it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy for the service. You're being served something, you give tip. If it affected your experience in that place, then yes, you give a tip. Takeout, Mm, not really, because it's the kitchen, the kitchen. Delivery, yes, because you will have to give the tip to the delivery person. So if you will have to account not only the food cost itself, but of course the added expenses to that, the taxes and the tip. So averagely you would be spending around $25 for an average. We're talking about average food here, average meal. But when you go to more luxury, I can tell you I've eaten in $125 per
yeah,
meal per person. There is some things like that also. So it's a range. It's up to you how you guys gonna budget, but is it livable on a nurse's salary? Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. I think as a tip, you need to look for the menu online. If you're going somewhere, like in a particular restaurant, you can see their costs. You
Hmm.
can see how much their food is, so it would be easier. But like what Kay said, if you're going out on a night out or in a dinner, with friends, you need to shell out around $130 on a dinner, um, but that's in a really fancy restaurant. If you're working, it would be eating out like in a kiosk somewhere. You can buy food like for $10, $12, or you 15. That's pretty decent food. The Starbucks, I think we're in $1.75, if not $2.25 a drink.
$3 probably.
Now, I don't know if it's still that way, but I know you can get a big slice of New York pizza basically
Yes.
on any corner, and it's like $3.
It's good. And it's good. And it's very good.
So
Yep,
you
you
can
can do
find the
that.
inexpensive
Yeah.
food there.
Yeah.
And I was just now looking at the time, and this has been such a great conversation that we're already over time.